I don't know that I used Waka in any of the final... I hated using Waka.
It's Bender's voice actor.
Is it?
DiMaggio?
I think
crazy.
so. I'm gonna look.
He doesn't sound like that in my head, but that doesn't mean he's not...
Yeah, I'd like to... John DiMaggio is Waka voice actor.
That's
it is.
It is not. That's no.
Is he also Jake on Adventure Time? He's Marcus Phoenix in Gears of War. I've never played that. Dr. Draken in Kim Possible.
Wow, I might have like a 4-way tie here. Yeah, that's
James,
a wash.
are you seeing this?
The much more important question, Miranda, is, did you not know that?
No, he doesn't sound anything like Bender.
It's almost like he's a talented voice actor.
But he usually is just doing that voice. Like, Jake the dog does sound like Bender.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Yes, but no.
Yes, but yes, they sound the same. Like, they're different.
Oh my god, he's
They are
Kamari,
different.
too.
Well, that one I buy. Okay, no, him as Kamari is fine.
Okay, guys, okay.
Are we still waiting for you to do your numbers? In 1996, Scholastic began publishing Animorphs. Over the next 6 years, Katherine Applegate and her husband Michael Grant, under the pseudonym K.A. Applegate, produced 54 main series books, several spin-offs, and inspired a TV series, graphic novels, and a cult following. We can't tell you where we live. We can't even tell you our last names. But we can tell you our thoughts and feelings on this series book by book. I'm Eddie.
I'm Chris.
I'm Miranda.
And we're the
Anidorks.
These may be kids' books, but we discuss dark themes and mature content. There may also be some explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
I made a little ranking
Should we just
table.
do a 3, 2, 1, say it, and then we just say it? That might be the funniest thing to do.
I feel like we go one by one, sharing each of our things. Like we share number 5 one by one, and we say why we put them there.
Yeah, and I'm saying, like, do we do, like, 3, 2, 1, share number 5?
But then it would be harder to decide who speaks, like, argues for their pick, you know, or explains why they're there. You don't think so?
Okay. No, so you're saying you would like it to be more structured. You would like chaos to not ensue.
Yeah.
I got it. Like,
It's not our quiz episode.
Jake. All right, so for anyone who hasn't figured it out, Eddie wants us to rate each Animorph hot or not.
Smash or pass. No, don't. No, I take it all back.
Maybe Prince Alfangor, but...
How old do you think he was? Do you think he was like 16? Like he just
25.
had a car or something? 25. Okay, yeah, I get 25 vibes from him.
He was old enough to fight according to the laws of his people.
Which, of course, is 18.
So yeah, Eddie wants us to do a power ranking. It is, and I think...
But not based on fighting power. We can do fighting power, though. That'd be a fun one,
Charisma.
too. Charisma.
So I was not aware of that limitation when we set out to do this, Ed. So, like, I actually have a spreadsheet that has many factors factored into it and then, like, scaled based upon how important each of those components is to me. So, for example, like, I have, like, damage done to date, personality, coolest main morph, kill count.
Do you
things
actually
like that.
know all of those things?
They're based on how I feel they do in each of these categories and what I remember of
So
their
it's
things.
highly subjective, yes.
It's highly accurate to how I feel.
Do you value the Animorphs based on how powerful they are?
So that's part of it.
You said it was a power rating, so I figured, like, I need to rank across all these datums. Anyway, whatever.
I just
it's
went
fine.
with, like, what I felt. Like,
Yes, me too.
Who I liked the most. Because I was busy.
Well, as long as you're ready to defend it, that's all you need to know.
So it sounds like yours are pretty set in stone, Chris, whereas I feel like, Miranda, you and I both feel like these would shift moment to moment.
Oh, yeah. No, these are like book to book.
My number one's pretty firm.
Yeah.
I wish that we could have worked on this project together, but I guess that's what we're here to do today. So,
Yes, we're going to make the definitive list of
yes.
the Animorphs up to book 7.
Not the A list. We're making the A list of Animorphs.
I quit.
But A doesn't stand for Animorphs. That's the letter grade.
I possibly have the flu, Chris. I can't follow that.
I'm not sure I can follow it. Let's get started. So, Eddie, what are the ground rules? How do we do this?
We're starting with number 6, Miranda. Is that...
Okay, yeah, we'll start with number 6.
We'll work our way up to our number.
Yeah.
Our least favorite Animorph, the one we would kill.
No.
What? No, I'm just kidding. But just,
actually, that might be true for me.
Oh, I know who yours is.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, based on the fact that you would kill them, I know which one you... Oh, I have a additional idea. So as we go, what if we're trying to make a consensus list?
Yes.
Okay,
agreed.
yeah.
I like that idea.
Okay.
Can we add columns to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to reveal on 3.
Okay, I need to copy and paste. I
was just going to type.
Oh,
but
no,
that
I
would be fast.
copied
I'll
I
be too
can...
nervous.
Yeah, my keyboard's like pushed off to the
Okay.
side, so my mic's here. So, all right, everybody ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Wait.
We're revealing number 6.
Just
so this
for
is our
everybody at home,
least favorite...
we're revealing number 6.
Least favorite
Animorph.
Animorph.
Animal morpher. Our least favorite
Yeah.
animal morpher. 3, 2, 1.
Whoa!
Oh!
No consensus.
Not a
Holy
bit.
so-
shit.
Okay,
I
so
put Tobias.
I put Jake.
I put Axe.
I was a little... If I could be swayed, I want to say, to 2 people, those are the 2 I could be swayed to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Axe definitely, I think, is at a disadvantage of just not having been around as long, right? Like, he just hasn't done as much. I don't feel like I know him. But I do know Jake, and what I know of Jake, I'm not buying.
Yeah.
Eddie, why did you pick Tobias?
So I could be sold on Jake. I actually really like Axe. I feel like Axe changed the dynamic of the group and won me over. But I'm not making a case for Axe right now. I picked Tobias. So when we started the books, Tobias would have been my number 1 and Jake at the bottom.
So
I feel like
Tobias would have been your top and Jake would have been your bottom?
Yeah.
Why are you guys laughing at that?
Kind of like Miranda was saying about Axe, I feel like Tobias is kind of at a disadvantage now where we don't get to spend much time with Tobias.
Yeah.
And so I feel like in the first 3 books, Tobias would have been higher, but now it feels like the books aren't that interested in Tobias right now, so I'm less interested in Tobias.
Yeah.
So I like the way that I started to talk about this earlier, but like just for the sake of the edit, the way that I did this was I made like a bunch of different categories, like sort of like stats for each one. I went through and scored them, and admittedly, I think my stats are inherently geocentric. Like I think it's very like
Earth-based, yeah.
oriented, because like, but I thought about it and like I gave Axe. So in here I have an attribute for alien info and knowledge of like alien things, and like that was basically just Axe followed by Tobias, and then nobody else knows a damn thing about aliens in particular, or they all
true.
know roughly equally.
Why Tobias? Because Tobias mind
Because he got
melded.
the
Little download,
Alfangor
yeah.
dump.
Yeah.
That data dump.
That data dump. But then when I went to like give that a point value, I gave it the same point value as like mainstream Earth culture, because in terms of like being able to act against the powers that be, which is how the Yeerk deals their damage, is by infiltrating systemic oppression. Like you need to be able to understand what game is being played so that you can dismantle it. Whether you're acting directly against it or working within like the system, it doesn't matter. You still need knowledge of that system. So I gave them equal weight. It's like when they're off the planet, Axe knows useful things, but I had to think in the last book, it's like the fact that Axe knew there was like an alien that showed up in book 7.
Right.
Slight
It's not
spoiler.
out yet,
I
so
won't
we're gonna
say
use
anything.
another alien
But-
shows up in book 7.
But like Axe knew the name of it, but the information Axe provided didn't change anything to the outcome of the book, so I couldn't
true.
give it like more weight.
Yes. So, Chris, would you say that you feel like Axe is your least favorite?
No, not it. No, no. But in terms of like,
You don't like his mouth jokes, though, or his.
you know what? I go back and forth on them. It just depends on how quickly I'm doing my rereading before the episode. Like when I'm reading like book 7 on a Sunday afternoon, I think it's cute as hell. But like, you know, when like it's like an hour before and I'm just cramming my notes, like then I get kind of annoyed that it took 1 page and made it 7.
Yeah. I also feel like maybe the Marco Axe tension, it boosted him a few slots.
I had to, oh my God, I should have.
Was that on your spreadsheet?
I should have put sexual tension as a, oh my God. Okay, hold on. I can add a category right now.
Oh my gosh. No, you cannot change your rankings like that.
To me, it sounds like you have too many categories already.
In terms of a consensus vote,
Wait, Miranda didn't talk about Jake.
Miranda, yeah, what's your rationale? Sorry, bud.
Oh, yeah, Jake is just bland. Just, you know, I feel like it's a little bit of main character syndrome. You know what I mean? Like, he's just your everyman. He's just and even in, like, book 6 where we get his narration again, I again feel like he got robbed a little bit of getting to be his own character and just gets shoved into this. Jake's kind of the leader. He's kind of sensible. He's kind of this. He's very nondescript. And maybe that's not fair, but I just haven't really warmed to Jake. I like him more than I did in the first book, but like he's just, he hasn't sold me.
I feel like I could be sold on your argument. I mean, I was trying to give him some bonus points because I think historically I undervalue management.
That's fair.
But I do think he has proven to serve as important group glue. Like, he's good for group cohesion.
Yes.
So in that regard, I was unsure of how to remove him first. Like, if this list is like, which Animorph would I be... like, maybe the way that I thought about this list was which Animorph... Rank the Animorphs from highest to lowest being who we could lose and recover from.
Oh, that's an interesting way to think
You're going to get rid of
fair.
the Andalite.
We
that's
didn't
what the
have him
data
before.
says.
We learned a lot from him, and and the data says he's currently a bit more of a liability than a help.
Yes. Okay.
So
I think the thing that propelled Jake for me up the list was the fact that we've seen him being a really good friend over and over again. Like, he's been there for Cassie. He's been there for Tobias. He made him a little drawer bed. Was very cute.
He did. Very cute.
The cute factor.
He made sure he could open
at least one
Rubbermaid
slot.
containers before he put it in a Rubbermaid,
Yes.
you know?
Oh, that was very sweet.
And he had a lot of nice moments with Marco when Marco
That's true.
found out that his mom was a visser, which we can talk about now because this comes out after that.
I'll tell you, I personally kind of feel like Jake was just managing Marco. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have his full attention. He's trying to act like things are the way they are, but it still sort of felt like he was just like managing him as part of the team. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the affection was delivered in that punch that he gave
That's
him.
right. Those good-natured shoves and swings.
Yeah.
Jake is a puncher. Yeah. This is one of the wildest rounds because I really feel like I could be swayed to any of the ones we picked so far. Like,
So let's come back to 6, yeah? But I'm sold on Jake being lowest.
Okay.
Not sold on
Okay.
Axe being lowest.
Okay, cool. Okay, so...
Should we unveil 5?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm so
All right,
excited.
okay. Wait until
Eddie's
all
gonna
your
be
cursors
pissed.
are in the right places.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
3, 2,
2, 1.
Oh no, mine didn't show up there.
I can't see it.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
So yeah, it was really funny talking that whole time because I was like, I'm pretty sure Jake is next.
Okay, so for the podcast, my number 5 was Tobias. So my number 6 was Jake. My number 5 is Tobias.
My number 6 was Tobias. My number 5 is Cassie.
And my number 6 was Axe. My number 5 was Jake, which was Miranda's number 6.
Yeah. And so Eddie and I line up on thinking Tobias goes in the bottom, and Chris and I line up on thinking Jake goes in the bottom.
Right, but that's about it so far. That's where our group cohesion lay. Lane? Is Lane lies lays Liz?
So Miranda, what put Tobias there for you? Because you also have him pretty low.
Same thing as you, really. I just don't feel like he's been a big member of the group lately. I don't feel like he's been super supportive of, like, other people's problems. He's, as much as I loved his gung-ho-ness for, you know, everything for the Andalite, we gotta do it in the first book, and in the first, like, 3 or 4 books, I don't feel like his motivations have really evolved.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he's sort of stagnated as a character.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually don't feel like we get that. Everything that I loved about Tobias in that first book, I don't feel like we've had again.
Yeah, we keep getting like sort of references to it, but he's not the same like dreamy-eyed, like creative kid, and there's no reason he had to stop being that when he became a hawk, really. Yeah. But like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He does go for the eyes, which I think is a point in his favor, and maybe why he's above Jake.
Yeah, and I think that's probably helping.
Smart strategy, tried and true, every time.
Yeah.
Go for the eyes.
I was going to ask you if the eye factor was on your table.
For me, yes. Well, but in a different stat. It was aggregated into a stat that involved a different thing that I don't want to spoil. But I will talk about why Jake is number 5 after you talk about why Cassie's number 5.
Perfect. I like Cassie. I liked Cassie as a narrator. I feel like the big thing that's holding Cassie back for me right now is that she doesn't have... There's not much drama around Cassie. Like, I feel like she doesn't have much of a big like, Marcos is his mom right now, and that he's been scared. Like, he's vocally scared about being an Animorph. Tom as, he's been yerked. His brother's been yerked. Tobias is trapped in a hawk morph. Rachel has some new problems that we're reading right now in book 7, and she's had a lot of drama, but I feel like Cassie doesn't have... I don't know what's going on with Cassie really right now. And I want her to have more... I want to see her working through more stuff. Like, I felt like everything with her and the dolphin morph and, like, wondering if it was, like, if she could do it consensually or if that was a problem. Like, it didn't tell me that much. It was more, like, philosophical or intellectual rather than telling me something about her character and her life. So I feel like she's just not one of the more... I want to see her become a more interesting character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really sounds like it really is incredible because I just had my head too far up my own reader's ass to like think about it from a doesn't make a good book perspective. Like I was like, I just in my head have been treating it all as reality.
No, that's a perfectly valid way to look at it.
Yeah. But I feel like even there, I'm just like, there's nothing controversial about Cassie right now.
Yeah, no, and I mean, that makes total sense. It's funny because, like, one of the things that I'm realizing while we're talking about this is, like, in that Cassie has no ongoing drama, she's not a, what's that called on the X-Files where it's the opposite of the monster of the week?
Mythos?
It's a mythos.
Yeah, her book wasn't a mythos. They got axed, though. It was a mythos book. But it wasn't Cassie's mythos book. It was
like her motivations aren't tied into furthering the plot in the same ways all the time. It reminds me of Lost, where it's like, there are side characters who further the plot but are mostly just interesting on their own, and their episodes are always more philosophical. Like, they're always more like, what are the implications of this weird thing?
Right, it's like, was Desmond really an important character?
No, not in the grand scheme of things. But did I
enjoy his episodes?
Yeah, I love Desmond. And that's to say, like, you know, you couldn't have had the show without Jack and Kate.
No.
But I would kick their ass off.
But I wouldn't have watched the show if not for Desmond. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, you wouldn't have had...
Or Charlie or whoever.
Exactly. That's the perfect segue to my pick, number 5, Jake, because I put Jack basically at the bottom. It's like, I understand his value, but like when I crunch the numbers and I look at the joy, he's not my joy.
Yeah.
And I also think if Jake died, they'd be able to rally around that as a cause. Like, doing it for Jake would become a thing. And point ipso facto, which I don't know if I'm using that correctly, but point of fact, when Jake was they actually were highly effective as a group in terms of planning and strategizing without him.
Rachel's the secret leader.
Yes.
So this is goes to the point that if I made this list tomorrow morning, it'd probably be very different. There's so many little character beats about Cassie that I love. Like the fact that description we get of her with her hand down the wolf's mouth.
Badger.
And everything.
Oh, no, it's a badger once and then it's a wolf later.
Oh, there's a wolf too. Sorry.
She puts her arm down a lot of creatures.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They love it.
Crucially, down, not up.
They love being the good kid for her. But like, Jake's version of that is like him eating Wheaties with his brother. So he doesn't have any of that. Like, I feel like he's lacking those really good character beats.
I totally 100% agree.
But when I made this list, I do really feel it when I see Jake showing up for his friends. And I feel like we've had a couple good moments of that. And so that was like a feeling thing that was
Yeah.
coming through for me. So
Totally. Absolutely. Again, it almost sounds like we understood the prompt, but we're very subtly, our implementations were very subtly different.
Yeah.
yeah.
Chris, you're not a fish.
Because I burped?
You're better now. See? It's not happening anymore. You just have to be reminded you're not a fish and you won't hiccup.
That's true. I wasn't hiccuping, I was burping.
Oh, sorry.
But that's really good. I like that a lot.
Should we
I
do
saw a
number
TikTok
3?
about it. So we do our rank number 4.
Did everybody
4.
feel like they got
Yes.
their catharsis?
It's our third person, but they're rank 4.
Yeah.
Yes,
their
thank you.
fourth place
Thank
rank.
you.
Yeah.
This is, again, my sick brain.
So coming in fourth, I'm ready.
All right, third up in fourth.
Miranda, I'm going to spit up all over everything.
3, 2, 1, boom.
Okay, so this is, again, we
We
are
are
not
all
in
over the
agreement.
place.
One thing I will say is we actually are going to have to probably statistically have collisions above. So my number, we have a lot of the same names in the bottom half.
yeah.
My number 4 was Rachel.
My number 4 was Axe.
And my number 4 was Jake. So just to review, Chris has Axe, then Jake, then Rachel. I have Tobias, then Cassie, then Jake. And Miranda has Jake, Tobias, and Axe.
So I think saying that we have all put Jake in the bottom half, I think if we all put Jake in the bottom half, I think that means as a consensus, we agree on voting Jake last.
Yes.
I think the runoff election requires it. Yeah. I think also if we're going on raw count, then we have two Tobiases, 2 Axes.
Yeah.
So whoever we have more of next rank logically goes in the 5th rank.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that feel to you, Ed?
Good? Yeah.
All right, so we have consensus.
Feels fair.
All right, first Anidork consensus. Jake sucks shit.
But he's a good friend.
He's a
He's a good friend.
We love
and
them
that
all.
doesn't get you
We
shit.
love them all. That feels... I wanted to say that before. I
Nice
love
guys
Cassie.
I don't
finish
love them all. No, I'm
last.
just
No, Chris actually said that you would kiss Jake. You would kill Jake. That can't make it in.
What an error! That can't make it out. That has to stay.
Oh my god.
Chris
I
said
know it's-
they would kiss Jake live on air.
You all saw it. You were all listening to the episode.
In a maternal kind of way.
I don't. just a reassuring kiss on the forehead. Yes. Well,
for it.
my
Oh
lawyer
my
has
God.
advised me not to respond, and
Like 40
that
by
it's
now.
I like that it's like you found a word with K-I, and then we're like, there's 2 more letters,
I
and
told
it's
you I'm
not kill.
broken today.
All right.
Your pattern matching is on point.
I think for Jake and Axe, a lot of the points may have already been said. I know for me, the points that came up with Chris with Axe, honestly, just that he hasn't had that much to give and that he hasn't gotten a chance to shine. It was hard for me putting Axe here because I really do feel like when I get to know him, I'll probably like him more, but I just haven't. So
This whole thing is like we sound like we're on Bachelor in Paradise. It's like, wow, I really would have loved to give an Axe my rose, but here we are. I didn't get that many conversations with him. And
yeah, it's, you can only take so many people to the fantasy suite.
on Bachelor in Paradise, it's the boom boom room. No joke.
I like to believe that if I took any of the Animorphs to the fantasy suite, we would just have a long conversation about what they wish their life had been like.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
Tobias
so
would
sad.
be like, I am 100% committed. This is where I belong.
It's so sad to think that at some point there's probably going to be a book where they're like grieving the life that they could have had.
It's kind of already
Eddie.
happened in a couple of the books.
yeah.
Tobias kind of went through it in his book. There's some moments in book 7 that are a little like, gee, what would my life
Are
have
we
been
going
like
to college? Yeah.
didn't have to, if I didn't have to make decisions based largely around whether or not I'm going to continue fighting in this intergalactic war.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Eddie, how did Like, how did Jake not make it higher if he's such a good friend?
Because Jake was being propelled from the bottom of the list, so he made it so he made it 2 spots up. But I feel like, I feel like everything's already been covered with Jake. I think he was always going to be in the bottom half of my list, but we did just spend a lot of time with him, and he has had some good moments recently. So that's what moved him up from the 6th spot, but he's definitely not one of my...
But there he remains.
Yes,
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, okay.
What's
What do
Rachel doing here?
I picked Rachel because even though Rachel and Jake are very different, I think the things that I dislike about Rachel are similar to what I dislike about Jake. And when I was valuing, I don't know how to answer this. It's just that
it's the data.
It's kind of that she's girl Jake, I think, is what happened.
Yeah.
The other thing is, the thing that actually made her beat Jake, and I don't mean that because I think she's girl Jake, I kind of feel like that's her treatment in the series a little bit, but also just the first 7 books. But, just like, we'll see what happens as she goes on. She's getting a wonderful character, and so is Jake. Like, we're seeing it all blossom. Yes. The real thing that actually put her, like, above Jake, because she really only won by, like, very narrow margin, was her kill count.
That's true. She does have the highest kill count.
Yeah, like it
like
was
a lot.
It was her kill count and the fact that in her story, in her narration, and I wasn't counting this most recent book as much, I was sort of just counting the first time everybody got to narrate. Her acts against the Yeerks dealt more damage than Jake's did.
Yeah.
So that's why she ends up ahead.
Okay.
All right.
I feel like I'm going to wait. I feel like we'll wait to dig into... We can have more of like a full conversation about Rachel.
This episode can be the whole show.
Yeah.
Wait.
All right. We ready to reveal number 3?
Yeah.
Number 3.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
No, I did it again.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay.
We
wow.
still we finally have a new person to add to our consensus list.
Yep. We have a consensus on who is in 5th place.
Eddie has answered Axe for 3rd place. I have answered Rachel.
Mm-hmm. I answered Cassie.
Man, I'm still kind of sad seeing X here, but I also feel like it makes sense. I think that's who I actually would want 5th place. See, I told you it was going to change moment to moment.
Yeah.
But...
Well, this is so hard. Like, when I was doing this, like, I would come up with categories where I'd rank them all equally, and I'd be like, what the fuck's the point of that? Like, and I just... I don't know. It's really hard to pick them apart. They're a unit.
Yeah.
Rachel,
but we have to kill one.
That's true. So I put Rachel 3rd. I tried to sort of, like you did, Chris, sort of like distance 7 from my feelings about it. Although we didn't distance 6, we did give Jake a second chance. But I don't know if 7 would have moved my meter on Rachel. I really like Rachel in 7, but I actually liked Rachel a lot in 2, and I thought she's a very interesting character who I think is, of all the characters we've been inside, I think Rachel is having the most dialogue with herself about her motivations and like discovering the most about her motivations and learning who she is as the book goes on. It's really interesting to watch.
Sorry, when I said discount book 7, I'll be quick. I just discounted the damage done aspect of it. It just would give her too much of an advantage.
That's fair.
I was just going to say, I think what Miranda just said about her having a lot of dialogue with herself is really interesting in contrast with Marco in book 5, because I feel like Marco's is very interior, his book. There's a lot going on there, but he, like we kept joking in the episode, like he is actively like he's not dealing with his stuff. He's compartmentalizing what he's feeling, and he's telling you like, I didn't sleep well last night, but thank God I'm having fun right now. Like there's a lot of that going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I don't know from the outside, Rachel doesn't, I don't think you would guess that Rachel would be the one who is the most self-aware about what she's feeling, or she doesn't seem like the most reflective. Especially,
even already in book 2, I feel like she was sort of questioning where the sort of rage in her was coming from. She was sort of startled by its presence. She was like, I didn't expect to be this kind of person. And she is really struggling and like trying to figure out where, because obviously her anger at the Yeerks is like a big thing. She's obviously angry at the Yeerks, but like I don't know.
I'm not a fish. I'm sorry.
She's really interesting to read. I think if we had done this much earlier, I would have ranked her lower. I feel like my initial impression of book 2 was not as high as I've come to like regard it. I really, looking back on book 2, I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Book 2 was really, it was pacing wise hard to know how valuable it was going to be until we did a lot more books.
Yeah.
Like it was like not a lot happens, but a lot happens. Like a lot happened in book 2 about personal reasons, about how these kids relate to other kids. Book 2 kicked ass. And book 7, I'm really excited for that episode. Like, oh my God, I haven't cried as much during one of these books.
Wow.
With book 7. Book 7 hit me really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So should I talk about Cassie?
Yeah,
Is
you've
that
got
where we're
Cassie,
at? Okay,
yeah.
sorry. So I like Cassie's really high up on the list, but for reasons similar to what Eddie was saying, isn't at the top of the list. Like book 4, oh my God, like that book was the first blissful joy of the series.
Yeah.
Like it was the first time where I was actually having just too much fun reading one of these and talking about it. Other than, I guess, just, I don't have fun doing this, you guys. I don't enjoy any part of this experience.
It's not like we're friends.
It's not like we're friends or anything. But the point, no, I loved her book and I loved her and I loved, like, I think that she does a lot for the group. I also think she's responsible for more planning. Even if the plans don't always go well, she actually has been taking planning upon herself. She's usually the one brainstorming what morphs they should use.
Yeah.
And her animal knowledge, considering the technology they've been given, is so valuable.
Yes.
So,
very much so.
Yeah.
So Eddie, you wanna talk on Axe?
Yeah, I don't know if there's that much more to say about him. I feel like we just haven't had as much screen time with him. I'm really excited to read a book from his perspective.
Me too.
But
How
Axe,
many fingers?
Yes.
I need to know how many fingers he has. I have a friend who just texts me how many fingers when they get to that part of the book right now.
I like that I think he makes a really nice pair with Marco in terms of lightening what's happening.
Yeah.
I think the books are getting a lot of humor out of him and his situation. And maybe I'm also just intrigued by, there's so much we still don't know about the Andalites and Axe's off and like everything happening outside of Earth. And I feel like he often is inserting that he's giving little windows into that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I want to know that lore right now. So I think he's just,
You're keeping him around for the lore. You're keeping him around for the world building.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So he's also like the shiny new thing right now. He's still in that place for me.
And honestly, based upon what you said, that makes me even happier that he outranked Jake in our consensus thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I got my bottom 2 flipped, but whatever. You live, you learn.
All right.
Are we ready to go to number 2?
Moving on to
This
number
is a big
2.
deal. Guys, this is a big deal. If people have been following along at home, this is the last time that they'll need us to reveal information
That's true.
at all, because they'll know the full count. Like, this is hardly a reveal. In fact, we should probably just reveal our top 2. But all right, no.
No,
We'll
let's just
keep
do
with
it
the rules.
because then
We'll
we
keep
have
the
to
rules.
we have to talk through who goes where after that in the consensus
Easier to talk
ranking.
about 3 people at once. Right? Not. Yeah.
All right.
Bless you.
I got as far away from the mic as I could.
I thought your sneeze rocketed you across the room.
All right.
I've been learning physics from the Animorphs series, and that's what happens when you sneeze. So
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. 3, 2, 1. Boom. All right. So we
this
gotta
one-
figure out.
yeah. Okay. So do we have a tie?
Okay, should we reveal
let's say
first?
who we said first.
So-
Yeah. So,
All right.
I had Rachel in my number 2 spot.
Oh, that's awesome, Ed. I like that. That's awesome.
I have Cassie
I
in
had
my number
Tobias
2 spot.
In my number 2. Yeah, I'm the only one who took Tobias this far.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
alone up here.
So it looks like Tobias goes in 4th.
Yeah, Tobias hits 4th, and then Rachel right after. So our consensus is Tobias.
No, Cassie
wait,
right
does
after
Cassie
because
beat
Cassie
Rachel?
has a lower vote than
Lower
Rachel.
rank. So yeah. Okay. Wow, you guys. Oh my God, we all agreed on number one.
We all agreed on
And
number
we're
one.
not allowed to
I knew
talk
we were
about it
going
yet.
to.
But
We're not allowed to
that's
talk
what I
about
knew
it
too.
yet.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't think we.
Well, let's all due respect to the bridesmaids here. Let's do
so
it.
Cassie
Let's,
was my number 2. I just really the sum total of all her little bits across the books, because I do agree with some of with the criticisms about her book not feeling it was like really about Cassie, but I also agree that Cassie's book brought more joyful energy that I think we really needed. And I also think her little moments across all the books have been some of my favorite little moments in each of those books. So I just feel like Cassie, everything she's introduced in, like everything she's brought to in the series, she kind of elevates for me, but she's not the star. So like she's my number 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What
Nice.
do you have any like moments, like those little moments that are like stand out?
Oh, the pill down the badger's throat.
Yeah.
I remember you liking the finger wag that happened
She
recently.
wags her finger. She keeps her hair short because it's not, worth her time or whatever. Always with the overalls, but like being besties with Rachel. Her moments in the Rachel shopping scene where she's like, you can't question Rachel when she's shopping. That's not
Gotta trust Rachel.
Gotta go with it.
Gotta believe. Do you believe?
There's a moment, she has a really good moment that I won't say in book 6 too, with Jake towards the end.
I think that's what I meant with the...
Oh, no,
But
you were talking about when she wags her finger and says, like, no, don't do that. I'm talking about, like, a tender moment where it's like...
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're talking, Chris, about when Jake says he did something at the beginning of book 6 that was, like, a little bit dangerous. She, like, gets in his face and, like, wags her finger. I also...
And it's so good.
She reminds me a lot of myself. I really loved animals as a kid. And so, like, picturing Cassie going back to her, like, room every night with her animal books. Her saying in book 3, she's like, well, according to my wolf book. I'm like, I love this girl.
Yeah, this kid's all right.
I feel like there could be really... Especially because they're such good friends. I'm hoping that if Rachel is the one who is... We were talking about her anger earlier, and she seems like one of the most likely to use violence. I'm hoping Cassie is the one on the opposite end of that. That we get that. I feel like that's could be a really interesting character dynamic.
Yeah. Cassie also, to tie into... You noted, Chris, about her being an instrumental part of a lot of the plans. She sees things sometimes that other people don't. And she interprets things and is... able to read people in a way that the others sometimes struggle with that I think is really crucial.
Absolutely. And when the books were starting off, it was hard to feel it not as like just like, oh, okay, you're the empath. Like,
right.
And in the beginning, it was hard to get her specific flavor of it. But now, after book 7, it's like, she's really good at it.
Yeah.
She does notice stuff.
And even after
she's
book
really,
6, like, it's,
Yeah. So I had Rachel, number 2. I think we are reading book 7 to record that episode as we're doing this. And I think it's hard for me to separate that from...
Yeah.
I did really enjoy the time I spent with Rachel this book.
Man. So good.
But I also feel like, so kind of the flip of what I said with Cassie, I feel like there's, and Miranda, you've already touched on this, I feel like there's a lot going on with Rachel as a character. Yeah. I know that, and I know I have a very clear sense on her relationship with most of the characters. Like her relationship with Tobias is really interesting. She kind of competes for the leader spot with Jake. They have kind of a like affectionate rivalry. She's really close with Cassie. She bounces off Marco in really fun ways when they're goofing around. And I just like that all of that has already been established this early in the series. And also she has I have a really strong sense of her interiority too from book 2, like Miranda said. There have been a lot of like heartfelt moments with her as a character. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like her a lot.
Yeah. Should I segue into Tobias?
Yeah.
My reason for bringing Tobias up, a lot of what got him elevated to this level, it was actually like his alien knowledge and his gung-ho-ness in the beginning of the series in selling the cause to Jake. Without that, a lot doesn't happen, and I just couldn't leave that out of my calculation. Also, the real reason why he's number 2 is because his direct actions led to the sinking of the truck ship, which put his kill count so ungodly high compared to anybody else.
Wait,
that
no,
he
We don't
has.
know how many people were on the truck ship.
also they all just fell out into the water like the gang,
No,
right?
no,
Like-
only the Animorphs. Only the Animorphs were in the water.
Yeah.
That ship exploded.
Do you think any slowly died in fire? Like, is suffering accounted for in your list, Chris?
He goes for the eyes.
He goes for
And
the
that's a
eyes.
pretty- it's a pretty
goes for
awful
the
way
eyes.
to
Like,
die.
He's been keeping up on kill count, and he's a burp.
He burped.
He burped.
He burped.
All of that is to say, like, it was really the sinking of the truck ship. Like, even though he gets an absolute gutter score for planning ability, like,
He's the eyes in the sky.
he's
Yes.
the eyes in the
Although
sky.
he usually
And-
can't see. Like, he's like, I'm the eyes in the sky, but it's dark out and I can't see
yeah,
any.
why do we keep meeting at night? Oh, right, because controllers can't see at night, and I guess neither can I. But yeah, that sinking of the truck ship, it impressed me.
Do you guys feel like, and this is just a total side note, I'm thinking back to book 3 now, and this is just something I didn't bring up. Do you guys remember being told that Hork-Bajir are basically blind?
What? I don't recall this detail.
When they're running in the woods?
First book. No, in the first book, they're like told that Hork-Bajir are basically blind, and that if they don't make any sound, they won't see them.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right, because then someone's retching, and that's the whole deal. It's like that gets them in trouble or something.
I feel like that got walked back a bit in
That got
book
walked
3.
back big time. Yeah, good catch. Holy shit.
I just thought of that.
Because I think they smell the humans. in
And then,
that
but then,
situation.
like, he, like, tries to shoot a bird out of the sky, and I guess it explains why he missed. But, like,
Yeah, it doesn't come up on their page. So it must have been something
Maybe
they
I'm making
introduced
it
in
up.
the.
Maybe
no,
I'm
I think
making
you're
it up.
right. But I think maybe like they just. I feel like it must be a first book thing where they didn't.
it was also dark, so he may have just been like, because it's dark, with their eyesight, they won't see you. Like,
Does Elfangor
Does he-
say that?
yeah, I think he tells them that.
Yeah, he like mind beams it to them. I
Maybe
think.
he's just. He looks down on the Hork-Bajir. That seems
Yeah,
to be an
pull it
Andalite
up.
thing.
Where's the... I'm trying to find a copy of the first book. Oh, Hork-Bajir do not see well in the darkness, but their hearing is very good.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah, page 44. In the invasion.
In the invasion. Got it. Don't see well in darkness. Okay, that's fine then. I take it back.
So we got that cleared up. Hork-Bajir see relatively
Yeah,
normal, but
sorry
at
about
bad
that.
No, you're fine. That was a great,
You were talking
well-remembered
about
detail.
Tobias.
Yeah. That's all I had to say. Just that it's critically, he was just so important in the earlier books that it's hard not to give him credit for like actually getting them into the fight in a timely fashion.
True.
Such that they didn't just lose the war outright, you know?
I will, while we close out Tobias, I think my feeling about Tobias was totally different. If my biggest complaint, I think, about these first books is just I think we should have had human Tobias for longer.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like if we just got more of time to hang out with him before he changed, I feel like I'd have a very different... Because I loved him in that first book.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
And every time
And
he's
I-
with
I mean-
Rachel, I like him a lot, too.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're going to get more of that going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. Okay, number
So,
one.
guys,
So as people may have been able to guess,
the Anidorks don't agree about much, but when they do, oh, buddy.
We love Marco.
we
They
love Marco.
Yeah, we're all Marco stands right here.
And I think it happened for us all in book 4 when Cassie went to his building.
Yep.
It started to start there. But I mean, think about it also this way. Marco, what has he done for them? He made the name Animorphs. He has pitched uniforms multiple times. They keep shooting him down, but it's a great idea. He keeps their spirits up, which they have finally all started acknowledging is an important thing that they value.
Yeah. Or at least
yeah.
Rachel did, right?
Yeah.
I hope the uniforms
He also
happens.
knows all the pop culture. He knows
does.
a lot about mainstream media.
Good at video games.
Good at video games.
Yeah.
He doesn't even get to practice. He's just naturally gifted at video games.
Yeah. His mother's in a high-ranking position, which is
Yeah,
very...
I was
Yeah,
gonna
no,
say,
it's
did we succumn to nepotism? By like his mom's like president of the Yerks, and
Like,
we were
if
like,
she
we like
hears
your
about
kid best.
this, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to get into all the good Yerk colleges.
He's gonna have like 80 Geds serving him. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I think we all really liked his book, too. His book was a lot of fun. It had all the it changed genres like 3 times. But
in a way that still felt like really fun and smooth and like.
It was a horror.
Yeah. And really, really fittingly, you know, like, is the book that we just wrapped up upon time of this release, you know? Like, I think we've been re-listening to those episodes and hearing a lot of love for Marco. And that's been part of it for me, for sure. It's like, man, he's a good narrator.
Even still in like book 6, the things he said, his jokes, the way he shows care for his friends, like...
Yeah, and in book 6 and 7, because of book 5, because he has his Why I Fight finally, he's not just this person who's like dragging everybody down. He's like quietly become a active participant in the scheming. And it's a fresh new look for him. It's like, it's good.
I think of the characters too, if you want to look at who has the most, he doesn't have the most interesting dynamic with everyone, but he doesn't have the least interesting dynamic with anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no pairing of Animorphs that like, where you take Marco and put him with one of the other Animorphs where something fun doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
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 So sort of in the same way that I'm like, I feel like Cassie levels everyone up for me. I feel like Marco also levels everyone up for me.
Yeah.
And when I finally got into his interior world, I really liked it.
Yeah.
It makes me think that part of what Cassie like suffers from even in like this ranking is that Marco's the loudest Animorph probably, and Cassie's the quietest, so it's most easy to miss what Cassie's doing. From like
big time
how she relates to the group, but also like the work that she's doing to like serve the Animorphs, you know?
Yeah.
But they had a great scene together. I really liked Cassie and Marco together.
Yeah, that seems
Is it a
iconic.
surprise that 3 loud jerks really like the loud jerk?
Yeah, it's true. I also like that
That's a really good point. I don't think like that took a second to sink in.
He's so like everything we talked about in that first scene with the mugging in his book. He's a rascal. He's and he's adorable and he knows it, and
he's a short king.
Yeah, he's a short king. Yeah.
Love a short king.
And also I was thinking about this when it came up again in book 6. Marco has a secret like only Jake knows, which is that his mom is Visser 1. And I feel like I just love when a character has a secret, because then we know everyone else is going to find out at some point, but it just like, adds another element. And I think Rachel's the liar. So Rachel probably has a few secrets. Tobias has a secret even from us, which is like, because we suspect that more is going on with.
Yeah.
He knows more than he let on.
He definitely has info we don't know,
Yeah, from Prince Alfangor.
Yeah.
Does Rachel have a secret? I feel like she does. Axe has lots of secrets that we don't know about, too, because
that's true.
He just knows a lot more about the war and the Yeerks than...
Rachel's secret is that she lied about her dad being a weatherman.
Yeah,
she lies about everything.
He's suddenly not a weatherman in book 7. He's an investigative reporter.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He has all kinds of jobs.
Well, damn, dude, this was useful.
I think we should go down our consensus list.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so our final consensus, top to bottom. Miranda, take it away.
Top to bottom. So we all agreed.
Oh, wait, no, do bottom to top. Bottom to top.
So the person in the lowest overall ranking who scored lowest on all our rankings was Jake. Next was Axe. In 4th was Tobias, who had the most polarizing rankings.
That's true.
Eddie ranked him last and Chris ranked him 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
But because I had also ranked him fairly low, he manages to get in the 4th spot, not quite eking out Cassie for the 3rd. Rachel comes in the 2nd spot, and we all agreed Marco has won our hearts.
Yay! I said yes, but then I switched it to yay.
Is there anyone that either of you would most like? Who would you most like to change on this?
Visser 3, number 2 is what I would like.
Eileen, number 1.
Yes.
Yes! Eileen, the minor human!
Eileen. Juan,
Eileen,
Terry,
Juan,
Terry.
Yeah, the coach in
Teal
book
and
2.
Dan.
Yeah. I feel like NPCs
God.
has to be the next ranking that we do.
Oh my god, my favorite thing in book 7 is there's a character who they have the first name and they bother to mention that they don't have the second name, so they kept referring to him as Giuseppe.
Joseph something.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Joseph something.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. I feel like at some point we also have to rank the cold opens of these books because they're so wacky, and I never remember them afterwards. Like Deal and Dan would have to be number 1, but
That felt like a fever dream.
I'm still reeling from those low prices.
Thanks for listening to Anidorks. We'll be back soon with lots more to say. Until the Andalites return, or at least until next time. See you soon.